So good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
It's great to see everyone out and great to have the chance to be part of this great cloud of witnesses that's gathered together to make change in the world. My name is Carlton Elliott Smith. I'm one of the ministers at the Unitarian Universalist Church out in Arlington, Virginia. Hey. And it's just such a great privilege to have a chance to address you all and to address the wider world as well. One of the concerns that I have about our movement as we're going forward is I want to follow the example of those who have gone before us in terms of having a peaceful revolution, a nonviolent, a compassionate revolution. I think it's so very easy to fall into the same traps that we see people falling into all around the world, traps that are based on ego and money and power and influence. And somehow if we're going to have a true revolution, one that lasts, one that we can be proud of when it's all over, we're going to have to find a way to overcome those ego traps of the past. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to do this in a way that's compassionate and faithful to the best of our values. Now, Dr. King admonished us while he was with us, and there's now a big statue of him. I think he'd be a little bit embarrassed about the statue, to tell you the truth. I think he would have preferred that money would be taken and spent to provide education and opportunities, but, you know, nonetheless, it's there, so we have a memory. But Dr. King, through him, we can create a living legacy. He was the one who encouraged us to love our enemies. So what that means is that each one of us, as we're working for peace, as we're working for justice and freedom, we have the obligation of first looking within ourselves to see that our hearts are clear and that we've done our own self-analysis. Now, it's very easy to go and point the finger at other people and say, you did wrong, you did wrong, you did wrong, whether it's the 1% or the 10% or whatever percent. It takes a whole lot more heart and a whole lot more commitment to look into oneself and say, well, what did I have to do with this crisis? What role did I play? And it's not about guilt. It's not about shame. It's just about telling the truth. And if I were to tell you the truth, I could look back and say, well, you know what? Yeah, I kind of screwed up my credit there for a while. I didn't do such a good job of managing my money. I had my own issues around that. I've taken the time and done the necessary work to address that. But I have to say that in some ways, I have a little bit of responsibility for what's gone on in this country. So I think all of us, you know, some of us might have overextended, might have bought a little bigger house than what we might have actually been able to afford, not paid attention when we signed some of those documents that passed by, but just looking to see where our responsibility is. Because once we've done that, and we've held ourselves accountable for our own responsibility in the situation we face, then we can go and say, well, we've owned up to our responsibility, and now we expect you to do the same. And it's not about having enemies. Like Dr. King said, love your enemies. I think I want to take it to the next level and say, well, can we have a revolution and have no enemies?
Yes,
can you imagine that? Yes. A revolution where we're playing a different kind of game. Not a game where there's winners and losers at the end of the game, but the one that Dr. King symbolized in his life. One where, because we're moving forward as a society, as a culture, that everyone has a chance to win. When people have enough to eat, we all win. When people have opportunities to education, it benefits all of us. When people are able to have housing and shelter and their basic needs met for health care, then those are opportunities for all of us to win. So what I'm praying for is that we will have this revolution that is based on love and generosity of heart. And yes, let's keep working on and let's keep living in these interesting times that we're living in, but let each of us find ways to match those times with interesting and creative solutions to the troubles that we face as a country and as a world. Now, in our congregation, we've been doing a lot of work with the Dreamers, and the Dreamers are the young people in our country who would benefit from the passage of the DREAM Act, which would make it possible for minors, for people who came to this country as minors brought by their parents, to be able to have access to citizenship through military service or through getting a college education. And what I'm saying to folks as I'm talking about the DREAM Act is that I want us to move from thinking about their kids and our kids to realizing that wherever we are in the world, all these kids are our kids. And there's something to be said. And especially in a country like ours and some of these other Western countries where the population is going down, Well, when you get sick, you're going to want some young person to be able to come and take care of you. Is it not true?
Yeah.
So looking at it from that perspective, when young people have opportunities to better their lives, to get an education, to make a contribution to the world, to use their intellect to be a gift and a blessing to the world, then we all win. So let's keep working. Let's keep going forward. I was going to say fighting. That was going to come off a little bit violent, so I didn't say fighting. Let's keep moving forward in the spirit of generosity and love. And thank you so much for your attention and your time.